Hello, everyone, and welcome to VMblog's coverage of the VMware Explore 2023 event taking place in Las Vegas at the Venetian. And today, we're joined by Nancy Hurley, the Director of Multicloud Infrastructure Product Marketing at Dell Technologies. Nancy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
I guess if we could just kind of kick things off, if you could give viewers of this video a quick overview of Dell Technologies and maybe kind of the group that you're focused on.
Sure. Yeah. So, I think as you know, Dell Technologies is big. We're like about $100 billion company. And most people, when they think of Dell, they think laptops or, their computers or the monitors that they have on their desk and peripherals. And yes, that is a very big part of our business. But what a lot of people don't know is that there's two large business groups. So there's the commercial systems group, which is what most people are familiar with, and then the integrated systems group. And the integrated systems group has all the products that are much more focused on data center and enterprise technology and extending out to the edge and that type of thing. In that group, that's where you'll find like our PowerEdge servers. It's where you'll find all of our storage offerings, data protection offerings, our Apex products, and the products that my team cover, as well as our hyperconverged infrastructure in our multi-cloud platforms. And again, that's about, it's all public, so it's about $40 billion in that sector that we focus on, which is really about enabling small business, enterprise, and the like in all of their data center needs, but also all their multi-cloud requirements.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the partnership between VMware and Dell, and where do you guys fit into the ecosystem?
Yeah, so well, that one's unique, obviously, right? Because when you think about it, I think it was like 2004, EMC bought Dell, and then in 2016, EMC bought VMware, and then Dell bought EMC. So we were partnered in a really unique way. While VMware always operated as a separate entity, we just did have some incredibly unique relationships, joint engineering, a lot of CI/CD, a lot of joint go-to-market and the like. And even though we have spun off VMware, now I think it's almost 2 years now, that partnership hasn't changed. The doing all of the joint engineering, collaborating. We collaborate today across just I think ISG on 40 different initiatives with VMware. From anywhere from workspace type things to all of our edge implementations, data protection again, and again, I know so well the hyperconverged infrastructure space, in which we are the only ones that jointly engineer a VMware-based hyperconverged infrastructure product. And once we are jointly engineering, that then extends to joint go-to-market, joint marketing and advertising. Our sales teams are really closely aligned, going in together with solutions. So it's a extremely strong partnership, and it continues to be.
Now, as we're here today talking about the big event, VMware Explore, and knowing about all the different technologies that Dell has, if you could maybe just explain a bit about what it is you offer a VMware shop and what are some of the problems that you're solving for those users.
Yeah, and again, I think I can focus in on the products that I am most familiar with, which is the hyperconverged infrastructure products. Although I think that this concept as a whole, applies for everything. Our goal is to enhance a customer's VMware experience, right? So if you look at the tagline for VxRail, it's built with VMware for VMware to enhance VMware. And it really is about how do you bring the VMware technologies together, the software and all the virtualization and cloud management and everything they offer, and into a cohesive, integrated solution that makes it almost seamless for customers to deploy and manage. And that's really what we focus on. again, I will speak to VxRail. So we have a wide portfolio of VMware-based hyperconverged infrastructure platforms, right? So we start with our vSAN ready nodes, and which very popular out in the market, right? We do some, join in development with and testing with VMware there. But VxRail, like I said, is where we do all of the joint engineering. And the most important piece is how we integrate what we refer to as our VxRail HCI system software up through the entire VMware stack. If you're using just VxRail, it's integrated very tightly with vSAN, vSphere, and vCenter. On the other hand, if you want to run VMware Cloud Foundation on VxRail, which is like the fastest way to set up a VMware hybrid cloud, you further extend that integration of our software up into their SDDC stack. And what that gets you really, what the VxRail HCI system software is, it's what really is the differentiator for that product in the market, is this incredible automated and smooth and simplified operational experience, right? So from deployment, automated deployment in a VMware environment, to managing all of your day one, day two, all your lifecycle management. You manage it through vCenter, or you manage it through VCF. And it's just truly about that operational simplicity. And, and again, like I said, across the board, that's what we're trying to do in all of our partnerships with VMware. But I think that VxRail really exemplifies that. And, I could give a couple of customer examples and some results of a recent IDC business study that, was just conducted, where they go out and talk to our customers about their results. But, we're really focused on just making it easier for customers to focus less on managing their infrastructure and more on really what they're, focus in on what their business outcomes need to be.
Now, you spoke a lot about kind of the VMware specific HCI offerings that you have, but could you give us kind of a deeper dive into some of the other technologies that maybe help support that?
Help support the hyperconverged?
Yeah.
So let's just put it this way. So first off, when we talk about the partnership with VMware and how unique it is, I want to say that it's not just Dell and VMware, right? There's a triumphant, how do you say that? Like, there's three of us. It's Dell, it's Dell, VMware, and Intel, right? So when you talk about how and why VxRail itself has led the HCI market for the past, I think it was 19 consecutive quarters, right? And that's just VxRail. Our whole HCI portfolio has, which includes some non-VMware based HCI as well. But the majority of that share in the revenue in the market is for VxRail. Makes sense. VMware, has a majority share in the market, but about 70% of all vSAN deployments do run on Dell hardware, right? So let me get to that Dell hardware, which is really differentiating as well. We partner with Intel to deliver on all of our PowerEdge servers. And so every time Intel is innovating, like for instance, their latest generation, which we tend to refer to as 16G, is VxRail and is always like one of the first products after PowerEdge team introduces 16G, then it comes out on VxRail then adopts it before any of the other products out in our portfolio. And it's because we want to give customers the best performance, right? The great core density, like the latest chipsets that just came out, enable a much greater VMware density on the 16G core. So, it's like, our sales reps might not like this, but, a customer's not going to need as many nodes to run, all of these broader workloads. And then there's a lot of technology with a number of our different partners and vendors that are in the PowerEdge service that VMware customers can take advantage of. Our GPUs, the DPUs, all of that type of stuff that enable you to run very specific workloads, because that's another thing about Rail in particular, but our Ready nodes as well, is the breadth of configurations that you can have. It's not just like, hey, adopt VxRail and you have to have like these CPUs and this much memory and this much cache or whatever. You can actually, create that in any way or configure it in any way you want for your specific workloads, right? So that's one thing, like if we just look at the hardware component itself, like it's really important. Then you take the software, and like I said, that integration of the VMware software and our VxRail HCI system software is what enables, like it all comes pre-tested, pre-packaged, all of that type of thing. But it's what enables the automated deploy. It enables automated cluster expansion. It then all of your day-to-day management is through vCenter. And then when it comes to updates and the like, we really pride ourselves on the lifecycle management capability, because it really is. We do health pre-checks. Is your cluster ready for update? We do a pre-check on, yep, you'll be able to do all this. We have already done, true story, 25,000 hours of test on the latest. If VMware comes out, like when they go from 7.0 to a 7.2 version or something, or a 7.1 version, like a major version, we test like 25,000 hours of tests. And it's like, why? Well, you heard about how many different configurations we have, right? And so what we do is make sure that all of the components are sequenced in order. And if a customer wanted to go from 7.1 to 8.0, right, and skip a whole bunch in between, you can do that with our technology, because we've tested every single possible iteration. Right. And so there's deep levels of engineering and technology that just give customers two things. Like they have the ability to deploy faster. They have the ability to reduce their operational costs, right, by like 61%. That was the latest IDC number. They have the ability, because all of the operations are totally streamlined, to manage with very few people. So there was one customer in that study that talked about the fact that when he came on board, they had 24 VxRail clusters. They had 3 people managing it, right? That's pretty impressive. They have tripled in size, same 3 people managing it. And it's that kind of standardization and that operational efficiency and everything that we put in at every level that is truly differentiating.
Now, there's a host of vendors that are going to be sponsoring the show. We know Dell is going to have a huge presence.
Yep.
As people are coming around on the show floor and they're checking out different booths. And you kind of touched on this a bit here and there. I mean, you talked about the valued partnerships, the underlying technology, the technology itself. But if you were going to try to boil the ocean, if you focused on just even hyperconverged, what is it that you think, from maybe like a bullet point list of the top? What differentiates you? What makes it unique? And what makes Dell's hyperconverged offering, in your mind, stand out above the rest?
Yes, I might be biased there, but first off, let me just talk about the booth as a whole and what we have, right? One of the key things, like we said, we've been in partnership with VMware for ever, right? And are very aligned with their overall initiative. So the theme is really about multi-cloud, and we are completely focused in on multi-cloud as well. So when somebody can come to the booth, they can see every aspect of how we address multi-cloud. We'll have our Apex products in there, our Apex Hybrid Cloud, our Apex Private Cloud, which are very VMware focused ways to not only, very rapidly stand up the clouds, but, consume it in more of a cloud operating kind of, cloud operating model, but also a cloud consumption model type thing, right? We'll be talking also about edge, part of multi-cloud is really extending it out to the edge. And that's a really important piece. And then in general, I know there's going to be a big AI presence and a big data protection presence there. So, all of it is what we're aligned with some of the core themes at Explore as well. So that's one reason to come by and say, okay, we might be talking about, how you do multi-cloud in the VMware world. We'll, come see us and we'll tell you how that becomes reality, right? So that's one thing. I think when we get to the HCI, I was just talking about all the differentiators, right? And again, I think it is, there's two things when we really think about our HCI portfolio, our VMware portfolio, is we're giving you choice, right? So there's choice in multiple different arenas. You have choice in how much DIY do you want to do, to how do you just want to purchase a fully curated system that has that automated deploy and all that automated lifecycle management, and focus less on that infrastructure management. Excuse me. But the DIY piece, there's a lot of companies out there that have, they might have more engineers than we do, right? And so it's like we're partnered with VMware at every level. Even we announced, it's not available yet, but we announced the new Apex multi-cloud platform, or Apex cloud platform for VMware. And that's like, hey, you want to have the, VMware ESXi, but maybe a different software-defined storage on the back end. So any way you want to implement it, and however you want to, decide, I'm going to do it myself. I want it fully curated. I want somebody else to stand it up for me. I want you to manage things, right? So there's that. And then consumption is another choice that people have as well, as far as CapEx, OpEx, subscription, whatever. So that's one thing that we really want to do, is offer that choice. I think the other thing, when we get down to, though, I talk about VxRail because it is our flagship VMware product. It is to this day still the only jointly engineered solution with VMware. With VxRail, we have this slide, this graphic I could share with you, but that shows the landscape of like so many different ways that you can implement on-prem, just clusters. You can do VCF on VxRail. You can do VCF on VxRail out at remote sites. We have satellite nodes. When you look at deploying out at the edge, so you can do 2-node clusters, 3-node clusters out at the edge. But then we've developed what we call satellite nodes, which are single nodes that can just be out at multiple different edge locations, all managed from a central place. So you can manage like 300 different edge locations from one management instance, right? We have what we call the VxRail dynamic nodes. So those support vSAN HCI mesh, right? Where if you've got excess vSAN capacity in one cluster, you can use one of these kind of dynamic compute only nodes and point to that vSAN mesh. So what I'm rambling, but what I'm trying to say is, regardless of what your requirement is in a VMware environment, if you're looking, to adopt the VMware HCI stack or the SDDC stack, you should come talk to us, because we've got every option available with integration that no other vendor can offer. Of course, I want to also make a commercial, because we have some fun things at the booth. So apparently we have like this, special slot machine that in the booth, that if you win, you get a ticket to, you'll get swag, but you also get a ticket to go into our drone race area, which kind of scared me, but now I know that it's enclosed. So hopefully, no drones will be going across the Venetian. but it's a fun kind of experience for folks to just come by and enjoy themselves at the show as well.
Interesting. Well, you did mention one announcement around Apex, but do you have any other announcements that you're going to be making at VMware Explore?
So we don't have anything like big because things have come out before the show. So we're going to be amplifying that 16G is available. The other thing that we're amplifying, even though we announced it last VME, there's so much excitement about it that it's really what we are promoting in a big way, and that's it's an edge specific product, right? And it quite literally, because we've done this up on stage, could fit in a shoebox, right? So it's a VX rail that is so small, and it's ruggedized and everything. It's meant for edge environments, but there's two things about it that are really unique and causing more excitement. And one of them is it has an onboard witness, and we're the only ones that have this. And so, like, what does it mean to have an onboard witness on this thing? Well, you're not, you can lose connectivity. You don't have to be in a place where you have constant connectivity or whatever. So, your oil rig, your, ships, right? We have a number of both government as well as commercial, ships, like Mercy ships, as a matter of fact, is one of our biggest advocates. I don't want to say they're our biggest customers because it's not like we charge Mercy ships a lot, but they need it on the ships that they're traveling all over the place too. So these types of things to not have to have connectivity to the witness at all times is really exciting for people for edge and remote deployments. However, it's also so small and the power consumption is so minimal, and the ruggedized nature of it is how hot it can get, that people, particularly in Europe, based on power costs and everything, are looking at this for the data center. Because you start putting these in a data center, you can actually run your data center at a higher temperature, and these can maintain that. Plus, it's a much smaller footprint. So it's a super exciting product. We'll really, really be focusing on that. We'll be focusing on 16G. And then finally, for the VxRail world, we are, highlighting, even though we went GA on this just a little while ago, but the VMware Cloud Foundation 5.0 version is, now fully supported on VxRail as well. And I expect too that there's probably going to be a lot about AI. We have some really big AI initiatives that are happening, so come by to see those. And then a lot of our edge, our edge team, we have a whole separate team that works with VMware on the edge. I know that they have some new and exciting things for manufacturing and retail and all of that people would want to come by and see.
Now, we know VMware is going to take the keynote stage and talk about a lot of forward-looking, kind of cool, interesting things that in the big picture that they're covering and talking about and heading towards. What kind of trends heading into 2024 is Dell sort of looking at? I know you mentioned AI, which seems to be on everybody's sort of mind and to-do list, but what trends are you looking forward to?
Right now, all things multi-cloud, right? So again, if you happen to follow the announcements at Dell Technologies World, we did some significant announcements around all of our multi-cloud offerings, right? And that's what we're really focused on, and VMware is an incredibly important partner for us in that space, right? So we look at from our Apex offerings, there's multi-cloud, it's anywhere you have multiple different clouds, but our whole focus is on really just enabling a multi-cloud infrastructure regardless of how you want to deploy. So we have a cloud to grounds, a ground to cloud strategy, right? So you want to take our storage or our data protection and everything, bring it up into the clouds. and, again, run VMware workloads up there and all of that type of thing, but also, cloud to ground. How do you more effectively extend the cloud operating model to the to on-prem, right? Because to optimize workload placement, but there's a lot of reasons why you want to run some of your workloads on-prem and some in the cloud. So imagine, that's one of the things that we can do with our entire portfolio. But like, you're running VMware in the cloud and you want to seamlessly extend it on-prem, that's one of the key things that we're really focused on. We also know a lot of where VMware is going, with new innovations that they're going to announce. Not up to me to say it right now, but we work very tightly, and we'll also be following with them and adopting the newer technologies that they come out with in parts of our portfolio.
Great. And lastly, where can people go if they want to find out more information about some of the things you talked about today, and maybe get a demo or?
Yeah, so I can say that obviously you can just go to Dell.com, but there's a lot there. So, specifically for VxRail, we have online demos and that folks can go look at, that show that whole operational experience and like what it looks like to do an update, a full VMware update and all that type of thing. And we'll share the URL here for where folks can go. And obviously I appreciate you doing this before the show. I'll just invite everybody to come to the booth as well.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with VMblog, and we look forward to seeing you at the show.
Yes, thank you. And again, I really appreciate it.